What if I told you that you can create a complete brand identity, logo, color palette, business card, product prototypes, and even professional photography, all of this in less than 30 minutes using only AI tools? We are going to dive into the world of branding with artificial intelligence. Whether you are a designer looking to accelerate your workflow, a business owner with a limited budget, or simply someone curious about what's possible with AI, this tutorial is for you. By the end of this video, you will have a complete brand identity system created entirely with artificial intelligence. And the best part is that most of these tools have free versions that will help you to get started. Let's begin. For this tutorial, we're going to use this logo that I also generated using AI, which I show in a previous video. You can click here to see the entire process. It's this logo generated in ReCraft. ReCraft is this platform where you can generate images for free. You get 50 images or 50 credits to generate per day. You can also create logos and generate images with models like Flux, which is one of the best at the moment. I'm not sure if they have Nano Banana available now, but you can check out all the models they have. Here I already have my logo, which is called Chili sin carne. What we can do here is easily edit it. So I'm going to make a copy, and here we can see we can create different color combinations. For this case, let's change it to only 2 colors. Here we select the image, and as we can see, it has this option to edit the colors. At the top, we can see it's a vector image. This means you can enlarge it as much as you want without losing quality because it's made with vectors. Let's select this orange color as the base background color and this other color, which is like a lemon cream for this example. Once selected, we can export the image. As we can see here, we can export the image as a PNG or as an SVG, which is a vector format. Let's export it as a PNG, and we can also export it as an SVG. Now we have our exported image. A recommendation: if you don't know what color to choose, you can use this page called Adobe Color, where we can select different color palettes depending on the industry. Let's go to this website, and here everything is categorized by different industries. We have fashion, graphic design, architecture, and here we have one called flavors. Here we can select, for example, this one that's using terracotta colors. It's also using a color very similar to what we're using in this example, this lemon cream and this orange. I'm going to select this image, and here we can see we have a 5-color palette where we can copy our color code, which are these 5-digit numbers. This is a hexadecimal system that's used when you're designing a website, for example. Here we can select this color and match it or copy it to use within the color we want in ReCraft. This is important when you're creating the corporate visual identity for any company, and this page is very useful for giving color proposals if you're working with a client, for example. So here we copy our color, paste it into ReCraft, and here we can also export this image as a JPG, or as we can see, it can be done in CSS format, which is what's used in websites. Here we can see that in CSS, apart from having the hexadecimal system, it also has RGB format. For example, if you're working in Photoshop, these RGB values are what you would need to put in Photoshop. Photoshop also accepts the hexadecimal system, so there's no problem with that. Great. So once we have our logos in high resolution in PNG or JPG format, we're going to use this platform called OpenART that has the latest image generation or image editing models like Nano Banana and Seedream, which is what we're going to use today. They also have many other models, as we can see here on the page. They have Stable Diffusion, which is an older model that's about 2 years old. They have Flux Context, which is also very good. It has tons of models here, more than 20 models that we can select. For this case, we're going to use Seedream 4, which is the latest image generator or editor that competes with Nano Banana. This platform isn't free, but when you register, you can use some free credits to try the tool. If you're interested in acquiring the tool, I'll leave a link here for you to receive a discount for this OpenArt platform in the description of this video. Let's select our Seedream model and upload our reference image, which is this orange logo with the color, and this other image, which is the color palette we generated from Adobe Color. We also tell it to have cup holders, napkins, condiments, everything that's handled within a corporate image for a restaurant. We also tell it to have business cards, promotional cards, and these standing menus like table tents. Here we tell it to also have text that says, apart from chili sin carne, to say plant powered, meaning it's powered by plants and that it's 100% vegan. We also tell it to have a clean, fashionable atmosphere that's eco-friendly and also that it looks high quality and sustainable. We tell it again to maintain this modern minimalist air and position our brand, in this case, for a vegan restaurant. Let's send this prompt with 2 results. As we can see, it takes 30 credits and we have these 2 results that are super clean and did what was asked for. Perfect. Let's analyze the first case. In this first proposal, it made all the applications we told it to make and included the plant power part, as we can see here in this box. We can see the text is clean, all the logos are readable. There's a difference in the bottom part, which is a bit distorted, but otherwise the composition is good. Green is the only color not specifically mentioned in the prompt, but it works perfectly. We have this other composition where we also see it has this green color in the background, which looks very good. The AI here made the decision to add this green, which we didn't specify in the prompt, but the combination of that green looks very good. If we wanted or if we liked this result better, we could change to a green color like this in our palette if we're working with a client. Everything else is consistent. The logo is in all applications and looks very good. I like this detail where it shows on these 2 boxes and complements the top box with the bottom box, which I think in production could be fixed. Because if there's only 1 box, I think the logo won't be readable, which is obvious. But it's good that the AI thinks of things like this for you. We also see, for example, the background this Nazbol style stone table. This took the part where we told it to use gray colors. Just like the white font color here in the logo, it also followed our prompt. Let's generate 2 more images using this same prompt to see what happens, correcting the errors we saw in our result. Here we have these other 2 images. Wow! As we can see, it took exactly the same elements and made another view from another angle, but it looks super consistent and super clean in how it placed all the elements on our canvas. It used orange color, which is in this part of this box and these paper cups, also here in these cup holders. It also used, interestingly, the cream color in this paper bag and a gray color in the logo, which we didn't specify, but it looks quite good. For example, as an alternative proposal to the main color, which is this orange with cream. Let's continue with another prompt. In this case, we're going to use another prompt, but we're going to specify exactly the colors we want to use in our final image, so it's more consistent with brand management. For this case, we begin our prompt saying to convert this attached logo image. It's basically very similar to the other prompt, where we tell it it's a vegan minimalist restaurant, the same thing. But here in this part, we're going to say the main color should be a vibrant orange color, and here we put the exact value of our orange, which is this 9755IE number, and the other cream color, which is this other EDF2C2 number, so it generates the visuals with those colors primarily. If you want, you can also put more or the other reference colors, telling it to use those other colors in the background to complement the main image. But in this case, we're going to do it this way, and basically we tell it to generate the same elements as in the previous prompt. Here we generate again, and here we have our results. As we can see, it took the colors exactly as told. It used orange as a base color and exactly the cream color. It also inverted it in this case, in this paper cup, and in these business cards we see here on the counter. The only thing I see is that it made this species, it took the color value and put it within the composition. So that's the only bad thing I see. Here we have another composition of the same elements. We could put more elements like we said in the previous prompt, but it also made the color value number within the composition, especially here in the business cards. But it's very good, it looks like a final product. Here we can see that artificial intelligence is very good at creating or generating these visuals, in case you have a client and want to show them something. This saves you a tremendous amount of time when creating these visuals. Now, following the same prompt structure, we're going to change only to show just one application. For example, only a cup, or show only the menu. We can also make it show each application individually. Here we're going to use the same example from the previous prompt where we specify the exact colors we want, but here we're going to change it to only be a product photo of a coffee cup with a logo, and we also tell it to put props or objects that go with the theme. The rest we leave the same within the prompt as we did in the previous prompt. One thing I forgot to mention is that since I see this more as a poster, the advantage of using OpenArt for this case is that here at the bottom, we can change the format of the final image. Here we're going to use a 443 vertical image format, more like a poster. Let's change the format and generate. We have our result. It put the coffee mug as we told it. As a visual for the restaurant, it's good. But I would have liked the angle of the coffee cup to be more in the foreground. We didn't specify that, but the props, the decorative objects it put are very good. For all these cases, I notice it uses this strong lighting where it shows these super strong shadows. This is because in the last part of our prompt, we said to use this fashionable atmosphere and be super sharp. That's why it's using this type of lighting. If you want to explore changing the lighting style in the prompt, you could make it natural light because this light looks artificial, but you could also do that within the prompt. Here we have our second generation. It looks more commercial, showing a cup without the logo. The coffee looks like instant coffee, but the composition is also very good. Now I'm going to do other tests here, using the same prompt where we tell it the exact color. This is to show more or less different proposals in case you're working with a client and want to show, for example, just the stationery part. Here I'm going to specify the same way we did in the previous prompt, but here I'm going to specify that it only have business cards, an envelope, also have a letter format, a presentation letter format, also a pencil, and we're going to put a USB here to see how creative the AI is in this case. Here we have the result. It's quite flat. I think the previous prompt where the first prompt has better composition. I don't know if it's because it's missing the green that the AI proposed to us. In this case, the result is a bit flat. Let's see the second result. This one is more polished in terms of presentation and obviously shows the logos. What I see here is that it did the same thing again. It put the color value number within the business cards, which I don't know if it's the prompt. We didn't specify it exactly. The letter is practically empty. I'm not saying it's perfect. If you're working with a client, it's not perfect, but it's a good start. I think this type of AI image editing saves you time in case you need to show these proposals. If you're a freelancer and don't have time to do all the photography production, I think this is a good tool for that. Now for our last prompt, we're going to make something like a poster with drawing. We're going to generate a visual that includes product photography. In this case, I have the logo and also this salad, which is a random salad photo with no production. We simply upload it here. Here we're going to use the prompt with the same base, saying orange and cream as base colors. What we change here is simply to generate a poster photo showing a salad, a smoothie, also to have background objects that go with the theme. Let's generate. Wow, perfect. The only thing I didn't like is how it placed the logos. The logos were placed randomly. This logo looks like it was put like a sticky note on top of the paper placemat. In the bottom part, it doesn't look very polished. Here we have this other result. I like this result better, it's visually cleaner, but the logo still seems like something that doesn't fit. But that's just my opinion. If you like it this way, you can leave it like that. Another advantage is that here within OpenArt, we also have these tools where we can edit our image. As we see here at the top, it has InPaint where we can select an area of the visual and specify. For example, we can select part of the poster telling it to put a tomato here and it would do it. It also has this other one which is remove objects, expand our image. So in case you have a vertical image and want to expand it to horizontal format, you could do it here. It also has this part that says change style. So if we wanted to change this style, not to be like a photograph, but like an illustration, it can be done here easily. Change background. And if there's a face, it can also be done here. Change facial expression easily. And this other one is image to video. Let's use this remove tool to edit. We simply click and it will open the image and select this part of the logo. I want it to be empty. We simply select it and click remove. Here we have our result. It did a strange job. It put like a salt shaker in the background. I think you can specify in the prompt to have nothing there. But in this case, it put like a salt shaker here in this part. Here in OpenArt, what we're going to do is export our image to a large size, because if we think this image is going to be for a poster, then we need good resolution. Here in OpenArt, what we can do is export it with an upscale. What it will do is duplicate the format, the size of the image. Here we're going to give it a 2x upscale and PNG format. Here we can see it already did the upscale and scaled it to a format of 3000 x 4000 pixels, which is the difference, for example, from Nano Banana. Nano Banana generates images of about 1000 by 2000. Sorry, about half that, 1500 by 2000. Here we can see it has a much larger size. It's 13 MB, the file that for printing won't get distorted or pixelated. Now in ReCraft, we import this image. ReCraft, as I said at the beginning, can generate 50 images per day, and you can also edit 2 images per day. You can import 2 images each day. Here we import our image, and I'm going to remove the background from our logo. Here we go here on the top and select Remove Background. What we're going to do now is simply duplicate the logo that's without the background and edit its color. We select the logo here and we can change it to whatever color we want. Let's use an orange, or the orange we already used in the version we generated at the beginning. Here we select the color, as we can see, and apply this orange color. Now that we have the color, we're going to edit this part that generated this salt shaker species. As we can see here, we have this tool to remove things. We select the tool and select the area we want to remove and click Erase. What we're going to do is, as we see at the top, it says Create a Mockup, Generate a Mockup. We click here and simply drag the logo within the image, and as we can see here, it's already adjusting 3-dimensionally within the image. For example, here we put it inside the bowl of the photo, and what we can do is make it smaller and it adjusts to the volume of the bowl. This you can obviously do in Photoshop, but what it facilitates here is this volume style within the objects you're editing in the image. For example, here we put it inside this glass and it also adjusts to the volume of the glass. Perfect, so here we have our result. That's all for this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe to my channel, activate the bell so you get notifications of new videos I'll be making. Thanks to OpenArt for giving me credits and being able to play with this tool, especially with Seedream 4, which they have available within OpenArt. If you're interested in acquiring OpenArt, I also have a discount link in the description of this video. If you made it this far, I invite you to watch this other video where I show the comparison between Seedream Monkey, what it can do and what it can't do compared to Nano Banana. Click here. See you next time. Bye bye.